Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Ruth Marquez, your favorite realtor. Welcome to the Ruth and Relationship Show. I am your host, Ruth Marquez, aka your favorite realtor, aka your favorite credit specialist, aka your love negotiator. I help men and women relate, get into quality relationships that lead to quality families, that lead to quality communities, that lead to quality legacies. Let's build. Today's topic is managing expectations in relationships. I know that y'all are out here still dating and such and such and such. However, you need to like pre-screen like who you're dealing with. Like, first of all, you need to understand the dating process. A lot of people don't really understand it too much. They think that I meet you on Monday, by Friday you're my boyfriend, by Friday you're my girlfriend, and that's that. And if it's not like that, then I'm mad and I'm moving on, right? But in reality, you have to get to know several people. And if you look at it from a man's point of view, who is choosing the woman that he wants to marry, if he's ready for that, he has to get to know people and know who he can deal with and his requirements for like compatibility and all of these different things that go on. So I'm using the men as an example because they date better than we do. Men date better than women because women is like, hey, you come here, you know. So that's pretty much how it goes, right? And that's it. And then we get hooked on one person and we move on. But men get to know women, they get to know a lot of women, some of them, and get to know what they like, what they don't like. They have experiences. Hey Lalu, how are you? So they have these experiences. Men have experiences and they get to know, what they like in a woman, what they don't like. Women do it too. The problem with the women is with us, with some women, we forget everything you do bad. Just like when we have a baby, right? When we have, the point about to get good when it goes, when we have a baby, right? If you give us enough time, we lose our daggone mind and think, even though I almost died, even though I was sick for a couple months, even though my body was bent out of shape, I think I might have another one after some time has passed. That's the same way that we feel about a man, even if he's not doing the right thing. We just forgive him. Forgive him. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Right? Men, they're like, mm-mm. They may forgive you, child. They're not forgetting, and they're like, she probably not the one, but for right now, let's just kick it, right? He says, hello, great one, says Alu. He said, I'm sure you're doing greater than yesterday. Yes, I am. I hope you're doing good too. He says, I'm fine. Thank you. Legendary. Yes. Great day is great day. Always better than yesterday. So I think that women should look back on their experience and realize I don't want to choose the same guy. Okay, we keep choosing the same guy and we'll have a pattern of choosing the same guy. Guys too, they'll choose the same girl over and over but she's gorgeous. But she just wasn't quite right. That's not what you were looking for because we're looking on the outside or we're looking at the financials. We don't see the character. So we get into the relationship for what we see, the women for the security and stability, the men on how fine she is, but we're not looking at people's character. He says, you made today a really meaningful Monday. Absolutely, yes. I'm on time. I'm ready to go. I'm chilling. So, yeah. So, women, we have to realize like all the things you didn't like about this guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. That is your list. That's your list. Not six figures, 6 figures, 6 foot, and six pack. That's not your list. That's what they told you your list was. But maybe you like a generous person. Maybe you like a generous person. Maybe you like an honest man, right? Some people don't want honesty. They don't want honesty. You got a lot of them, okay? Because their feelings get hurt. But maybe you like somebody that's honest. Maybe you like somebody that has integrity. Maybe you like somebody that is ambitious. Maybe you like all these different things. Maybe the men that you've dealt with in the past didn't have all those things, but now you're looking at all those pieces. What is the best part of that relationship? What was the best part of that person? What was the best part of that person? Can I find all those things in one person? Now you may find all those things in one person, but they don't have the 666 complex that you're looking for, that they told you to look for, and that you decided that's what you wanted. And that's okay, because you're going by character. So if you go by character, that person can always lose weight. That person can always make more money. That person can always, what's the six one? They can't grow any taller though. Sorry. That part you gotta keep whatever you they can't get no taller, sis. So choose wisely. I tell my clients that I can I can I can change to help you change the out inside, right? You can change the inside. When we pick a house, you can change the inside, but you can't change the outside. So don't pick a neighborhood that you don't like. We can't do nothing about that. We can get the crappiest house and rebuild that thing up. But if you're in the right neighborhood, you made the right choice. So you can change the outside, but you can't change the inside. I mean, you can change the inside, but you can't change the outside. Okay. So make sure you like what you're getting. So in real estate, managing expectations is a big part of my business. Okay. I will talk to a buyer. Let's see what's going on Facebook. My bad. My bad, Facebook. 1 second, y'all. Let's see how everything is. I'm jumping right into it this money. It was like, yes, let's go. Hit the ground running. She's not playing any games today. How are you guys feeling today? In real estate, hold on. I'm trying to pull up my Facebook profile. Let's see what's going on here. 2 more seconds, guys. Sorry. In real estate, I basically talk to a buyer and I let them know if this is your first time buying a home, these are some of the things that you can expect. These are some of the things that you would have to deal with. And I hear in the conversation that we have, I try to manage expectations from the first conversation. They may not choose me as a realtor because I might be too honest for them, but I'm actually helping way more. It's a small percentage of people like, oh no, that's not, that's not what I want to hear. It doesn't matter what you want to hear, it's the truth. Like the truth is the truth. I can't get you $100,000 home in a $500,000 neighborhood. I can't do it. It's not gonna happen, right? So when I tell them the truth, they can appreciate the truth. Most people, if they're delusional and they think they can get whatever they want with not having the right requirements, then they're not the right fit. So I'm okay with the either. And that's how it has to be in dating. And dating is the same thing. You can tell them what it's going to be. You can tell them how you are, right? You can tell them all of these things and they get to decide, okay, I think I'm going to go this route. I think I want to I think I want to I think you may be the right person. Basically going, because I heard Miss April Mason say that you look for the little boy in the man. And I understand what she was saying, because she was like, you're going to deal with the little boy part of him. And I said this before in different ways. Like, I don't like the little boy part, but just like the sensitive part, everybody has a child in them, right? So I said this when I said the guys that ran from the bees and the guys that ran from the mice, and you know, like, dang, it's only when I come on here, like, getting the shoe and beating the mouse. I told you that story. Stone cold killers, right? She said your sound is good. Thank you, love. Good. It's always Instagram though. So Instagram is where the sound will go out. Oh yeah, you know what? The sound did have a problem one day on Facebook. But yeah, so basically, we talking about in relationships. Okay. So now I manage the expectations with the buyers. I manage the expectations with the sellers. This is what we're doing. We are going to do it this way, because if you do it this way, then you can get you're not going to overprice your home, because if you do that, then you can't have a bidding war. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things we say ahead of time in the professional world that gives them a whole different experience. It's like I did it, and now, like, I know know this like to date me, right? This is what you're going to get. Wait, what does I say to? I said, wait, this sounds so familiar. Oh. That's when I said, there's going to be times when you're going to think I'm joking, right? You're going to be like, wanting to say something serious to me, and I crack a joke. It's not because I don't take you seriously. It's because I don't want you to be mad at me. And I've said this before. I don't want you to please don't be mad at me, right? And like I said, they're like, Ruth, don't say it because I'm like, if he's manipulating, then I'm gonna smell it. I'm gonna smell it from a mile away. So I can say what I want to say here because this is a safe place, right? Not that people have not tried it, but my point is, um, you already know who you are. You just have to let that other person know this is what comes with me. That's my point. So in real estate, you got to let people know what to expect because they may think it's something that is not. They may think it's HGTV and it's not. They may think they can come up in here and look at homes with no pre-approval, but you can't. I'm a realtor and I go to other states. I can't. I almost did in Florida. I almost went to go see a house with no pre-approval. Okay. I almost did. And I don't know what happened, why it happened, but it didn't happen. Okay. You got to have pre-approval to go see these homes. They want to know that you're qualified and not wasting people's time. Right. So that's what happens in the real world. So why not in the relationship world? So story time, story time, story time. Let me grab my coffee. Yes, I did go to Wawa today. So if I use my past experience, disclaimer, I use my past experience only to learn and grow. Things don't work out, but I use it to learn and grow. So I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. But here's what happened. What happened was, okay, long story short, it took me like 15 years to realize, like, oh, you want me to work a 9 to 5 job? You want me? Do I look like I'm at a 9 to 5 job right now? Do I look like I'm at a 9 to 5 job? No. But because expectations were not managed, right? Because you didn't talk about certain things before you got involved with that person, y'all got in too deep and then realized that, yo, this is not what I expected from a wife. This is not what I expected from a husband, right? So a lot of people that, like, the traditional role and all that, I had to fall into that because of circumstance. So I had to be traditional because of circumstance. After you have 2 kids, you ain't trying to pay no childcare, right? So I'm in a traditional role. So now it's like, oh, okay, now I expect you to get a job. I expect you to do this. I expect you to help with this, but we never talked about it. So you go to the marriage counselor. Of course, when the building's on fire and y'all still in the building, and that's when they're like, what is your definition of marriage? It's like, it's kind of late. It's kind of like, yeah. I did the exercise, I wrote it out and everything, but the other person didn't do the work. So I was like, oh, this is indicative of how it's gonna always be, like one person trying all the time. So that's where it's like, if I would have known that, I would have been like, yo, this is easy. This is easy. I ain't never getting no 9 to 5. I did end up getting a job, but I didn't plan on staying there. I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur in my life. So it's like, so when I was an entrepreneur, the person didn't like it because it's like, that's not what they dreamed of. They want, where's the money? Where's the rolling in, let's go. But I'm like, but you're not understanding. They're not trying to pay me on the 9 to 5 my worth, but I can generate a bigger check. Just give me some time. And I was on that path. So that's how I knew that it was not going to work. But not only did he want that 9 to 5, cook and clean, 50-50, all of that stuff. I was like, ooh, you must have thought you hit the lottery. All right. So my point is managing expectations is very, very important because y'all might realize that y'all are not ever going to be the ideal for that next person. So that's why if somebody is not open to this or open to that, or they want something specific and you're the opposite of that, it's not going to work out because y'all going to be fighting a lot. So I wanted to turn our attention to this guy. His name is David Bett, Patrick Bett David. He has an awesome YouTube channel, and y'all have to check it out. He's really good. Makes a ton of money in the insurance industry, has amazing quality videos, and he's talking about marriage. So him talking about marriage is this is how, like, you want a successful, busy, ambitious man. The women want that, but he's talking about the other things that come with it. It's not as, like, for it to work like a well-oiled machine, you're going to have to make some kind of, like, I don't want to say compromise sacrifice. I'm gonna say compromise sacrifice because that's exactly what it is, right? So let's see. I have to share my screen. All right, here we go.
Expectations of walking on water. It's the same exact way when a father is too protective of the daughter. When she's finally free, she goes to college, gets drunk, and has 7 boyfriends in the first 2 weeks. It's the same thing you do to marriage. We can't be walking on water all the time. The more it's walking on water, the more the other person wants to retaliate. The more there's expectation and a bit of flexibility, the more it's like, dude, I can do whatever I want to do, but I don't want to do it because we have mutual understanding. So I'd say managing expectations is probably one of the most important things you can do in your marriage. So what's good, everybody? I want to let you guys know that the Standard Sprinkle. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of your thoughts when it comes to marriages. We had a clip went crazy a couple years ago when we were talking about these things, because one of the things you told me, and I'm still gonna hold you to it. You told me to come back to you, and we have a conversation when I'm married and have kids. I got married, so when I get kids, I'm gonna come back. Beautiful wife, by the way. You guys look amazing together. Thank you so much, Patrick.
So Nafis is his name. From they have a podcast called The Roommates, and I guess they turned into like multi-million-dollar business, the business, and now they're selling these suits. Actually, they look nice. And he's having a problem with his girl. Like, he's busy, and he's not only is he busy, he's ambitious. So he's asking really for himself. A lot of times when you're an interviewer and when you're doing interviews, like, you learn the most. This is how Oprah got rich. She was talking to so many successful people. She took their advice, and she started to learn, what the experts know. That's how you have your own inner transformation. And so this is what he's doing. He's picking his brain while he has him for the podcast.
We're gonna come have that conversation. But to me, I'm very
the audio
interested.
Is great, by the way.
You have this amazing business. You have these amazing children. You have all these great things going on. How are you able to balance all that with also being a husband? Because I think there is not a lot of conversations from high profile, high achieving men really discussing this. And that's something, as someone who aspires to be a man like you, I'm very curious. What are some of the things that you've learned all these years to balancing and being successful?
Shout out to Nafis and his partner, that they used to put a lot of stuff out, like, clickbait type of stuff, like, why women will die alone, like silly things. And then they was like, you know what, let's stop promoting the negativity and let's start putting positive images and having good things to say, and trying to teach the men, like, the right thing to do and focusing on themselves. Although men, this is how it is on YouTube, like, videos, I've experienced the same thing. You try to talk about things that are a you try to talk about things that will help the person, they're not watching those videos. But the thing that is clickbaity, they're watching those videos. And everybody has to come up to their balance. So it's, shout out to them for like having good quality content that people can learn from, and just like, oh well, and this already had 45,000 views, and it's but they have 500,000 subscribers. And yeah, shout out to them.
Successful in marriage. Yeah. So number one thing is managing expectations all up front.
All
Okay.
up front.
So let me unpack that. Do you remember what I said when you said, "Hey, if you were the president today, what's the most important thing you would do today?" I said, what you do the 20 years prior to being president is 100 times more important than you being a president. Okay.
Ooh, that's good.
So what you do before getting married, okay, is
Did y'all catch that? 20 years before you are the president. That's more important. 20 years. If you want to run for president, like, don't be grabbing nobody now. Right? Don't be grabbing no private parts now. Like, you got, don't get the DUIs now. This is what you do now is going to affect your tomorrow. I know we don't think 20 minutes from now, but what he's saying, when you're doing high level things, you got to do 20 years from now. You got to think 20 years ahead. So today, for the ambitious man is or woman is like a drop in a bucket compared to the whole big picture. That's why they do it.
important more than when you get married. What do I mean by this? Let me unpack what I'm saying to you here. So on our first date, we go to P.F. Chang's. On our second date, we go to church in the morning. It's a Sunday. Then we go to Santa Monica, do the stairs. Then we go to Earth Cafe, and then we go to Borders. At Borders, I buy her a book called 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged by Norman Rice. Well, thank you for the recommendation. Perfect. So I get that book and I give it to her on our second date. And
I want y'all to catch that.
Santa Monica, do the stairs. Then we go to Earth Cafe, and then we go to Borders. At Borders, I buy her a book called 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged by Norman Rice. Well,
101 questions to ask before you get engaged, right? But he said it on the second date, though.
Perfect. So I get that book and I give it to her on our second date.
Second date.
And
he ain't
she
playing no
looks at
games.
us and listen, I'm not here to hook up. I'm doing fine in that area. Looking for a wife. If this scares you, I'm not the guy for you. Now, we had known each other for a few years, but she was dating another.
So here's the thing. Women have to understand and realize that there's men that are casual daters and there's men that are actually looking for wives, right? So if you have somebody that you're attracted to that's actually looking for something serious, not just because I think we lost a picture, like lost kind of like the point and the purpose of dating, right? But this isn't a good example of how, like, when a guy is serious, he's really looking for a wife, like he's not playing no games. Second date. So compare that to what you're dealing with right now, and know that there are guys out there that's not playing games, that really are looking for somebody quality for a wife. Like he said, he has plenty of women he can hook up with, but he's looking for a wife. So we have to get used to the new normal. Has to be like, okay, this guy's not looking for a wife. This guy is looking for a wife. Let me see what's going on with the guy that's looking for a wife. Make sense?
Cool. The guy was dating another girl, and I said, if this makes you uncomfortable, I'm totally good with it. She says, oh, let me think about it. Goes back a week later, we go through the questions, right? So we talk about how many kids you want to have, finances, how many months can you handle without me being on the road, traveling, working card, schedule, everything up front, right? Okay, great. So that happened. Once that happened, she knew my position, I knew her position, then we got married. When we got married, I started a company 3 months after I got married. When I started the company, I had money in the bank. We were looking at a $2 million house in an area called Monterey Estates in Northridge that we loved. And we looked at this house that was right next to Hulk Hogan's house, a beautiful house. And we went in, we looked at it 5-6 times. I said, now that we're starting a company, I'm not buying a house. We're going to live in an apartment complex.
How many women are going to be okay with you saying, he's like, oh, we're starting a company. I know I got this money in the bank, but we're not. He's like, I'm not buying this $2 million home. I'm going to, do this instead. If she was like adamant about no. We need to have this nice home. I can't believe you want me to marry you, and now we can't have this nice home. Okay. So now when he's like a multi-millionaire and she's getting very, very expensive things, this is why this is why a lot of women don't like a lot of men that stay like when they get the money, that woman was there with them when they were struggling. That woman was there with them when they were making the sacrifice, right? That's why a lot of guys is like, "Well, yo, where are you coming from now when I'm at the finish line? Because you weren't there when I was trying to make this happen. So now it's going to be my way. You're going to be on my program. Well, you got to be on this program regardless, but you get what I'm saying. If he wants to date multiple women, if you want to have a mistress, all this, that's what happens when you just, oh, I'll wait for you to get it together and come back to me all done and prepared. Versus he's going to think in his mind, like, hey, my wife sacrificed getting this nice home right now so that we can build a business that can give us, generational wealth. And that's the woman he's going to stay faithful to because she was there when he didn't have it. And it is what it is. That's how I feel. Like a lot of guys are like, why you want me now? The same women that don't want me now, they sound so bad. Sorry. You didn't want me when I didn't have nothing. So I don't want her now. That's what they say. Some guys, not all guys. Some guys are mature, like, listen, I'm not like that.
And I'm not buying a house for 5 years. So I don't want to talk about buying a house because I'm not going to do it, babe. Money's going to go into the business. This is what we're doing. She's supported. Great, no problem.
How many women, y'all be honest, are going to let him decide that? How many? Just because he got married, it doesn't mean like he's not like if he's the one making the move, like he's trying to make the moves. He saved the money, right? Hold on a second. He saved the money, and now he's saying this is what he wants to do with the money. She supported him because she sees the bigger picture. But a lot of people, like I said, they will fight him on it. Like they would be like, no, why? I want to be comfortable, not looking at the big picture. A lot of women are smart and gonna say, you know what? If you did it before, you'll do it again. I trust you. I trust you. And I know that you're gonna make a great future for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and fall back and support you.
When we're dating, I said to her, she said, well, everybody's got a Louis Vuitton, Middle Eastern, so everybody around us, everyone's got Louis, Fendi, all. I said, I'm not a Louis person. I'm not a Chanel person. I said, I like Coach purses for now. I said, but after 3 kids that we have, at the third kid, I'll get you a Chanel purse. Okay? She's like, okay, great. So managing expectation. Third kid, Senna's born, $10,000 Chanel purse. At 10th year, if we're together, babe, you know how much of a ring I bought her? A $3,300 ring. I had money when I bought it, and I only bought her $300. She bought me a $200 ring, $300 ring. Okay. She said, "What kind of a ring you want?" I said, "Babe, I don't care what kind of ring it is. Just." By the way, she bought 2 of these because I lose these. This is like the 4th one. Okay? So she gets a $3,300 ring. And I said, at the 10th year, if we're still together, whatever you want a $50,000 ring, $30,000, I don't care. Whatever you want, I'm going to get it for you. We're married 10 years, we're celebrating. This was 2.5 years ago. I said, what ring you want to buy? She said, babe, I don't want a ring. Why? It hurts my fingers. I said, okay, what do you want to do? I'd much rather go to Monaco and we stay at the best hotel and we stay there for a week and first class and all this. No problem. We go to Monaco, spend $60,000 on a trip. To her, that was more important than getting the ring. No problem. Then
So he's talking about managing expectations. She gave up the big house in the beginning. Now years go by. She gets this expensive. She got a regular ring, and then as time goes by, she was able to get a $50,000 ring or the option to get one. But he was saying like, I'm going to manage your expectation. And mind you, he had the money in the bank to buy a more expensive ring. You already know what he did with that money. He invested it back into the business. So he has like one of the most, I think he has one of the biggest insurance companies in North America right now. Like his conferences are huge. So she now when it comes time, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get a trip instead. Is that okay? You know what I mean? They working together. They're working together. But I like how every time he's like, if you stay with me 10 years, then you'll get that. Well, a lot of men are like afraid, like, of her leaving. He found a way to negotiate with her and was like, well, if you stay. I'm like, wait, what? If you okay. But I liked it. It was really smart. I liked it.
Hey, I'm going to get you this house. Now, I just bought a 20-some million dollar house that we're staying.
Amazing.
$20 million home.
The point is, everything is managing expectations
Yep.
up front. If we don't manage expectations up front, if we don't do our part up front, you're going to constantly face challenges. Too often, people who get married manage expectations too late.
Too late.
It's too late. Nothing matters right now. There is no leverage right now. Like, what is the expectation right now?
He said it's too late and there's no leverage because it's like we're already in this, right? There's nothing else to lose. We already had the kids and all that, you know? You can't be like, oh, well, if you're not going to do such and such and such, then we might as well not get married. That's leverage. Fine. We don't get married. Okay, fine. Since you want to get married, since we have this big thing that we are pushing for, and I want this and you want that, now we can negotiate what we want. But he's like, there's no leverage to negotiate after you're in it for so long. That is the new normal. So you have to be able to manage these expectations from the beginning. You have to be like, okay, as a man, I want to be able to have sex this amount of time. I want you to look a certain kind of way. They never say nothing. But then they get mad. They're mad when, and some women are like, oh, I know my man like this and my man like that. Right? And you don't have to tell them, they get it. But sometimes they just let it go. Like, okay, we're married, so I can let myself go. No big deal. Okay, we're married now, so I'm not gonna, I don't feel like it. So now, no. And that's how things start going the wrong way. And the same thing with the guy. Oh, we're married now, so you can go ahead and work. I'm not working no more. You're changing the agreement. Every single time he said, I'm going to do this for you at the 10th year. Didn't he say he came back and did what he said he's going to do? A lot of people don't do what they say they're going to do. And that is frustrating to the other person. It's like, wait, I did my part. I did what I said I'm going to do. What are you doing with me now? Huh? So it's going to cause a lot of confusion if you don't do what you say you're going to do. So
we're in too deep. Like, before we're talking about before we have kids, we got to manage all the expectation before we have kids. We got to manage it before we buy a house.
Right.
We got to manage it before we send them to private school.
Right.
All of those conversations needs to be had early.
So when you're saying before you have kids, it's like, listen, if we don't agree how we're going to handle the kid thing, let's just not have the kids. Or let's just not get married. If we don't agree on okay, kids or no kids, how many? If we don't agree, let's just not have it. Let's just not do it. But you do it before. Or when we have the kids, it's what's going to happen. Some people, oh, I don't want, like, I get a nanny. Oh, I don't want no nanny for my kid. I want you to be here. And I'm like, wait, I never wanted to do that. Get on the same page or find somebody that's on the same page as you. Maybe that's not the right person for you. Maybe that is what had to happen to be a sticking point and y'all had to walk away. I was watching, what's that show called? The Ultimatum. And one of the guys, they were supposed to go and meet somebody else, like live with somebody else. And before they could go live with somebody else, he was like, okay, I've been, I won't have kids. I'm okay. I just want you. And it's like, you're defeating the whole purpose of this thing. You're defeating the whole purpose of this experience because you're supposed to get to know other people instead and then decide this is the right person for you. But instead, he's like, I will compromise what I want for what you want, and I'll risk not ever wanting kids, even though they didn't agree. That eventually they did come to some kind of agreement, because he didn't want her to be with somebody else. But the point is, you can't compromise. What are you gonna do? Chop the kid in half? I want kids, you don't want kids. Somebody got to lose that one. And if somebody is losing, what happens after that? Who's taking care of this kid? That's just an example. Because sometimes you think like, okay, work, not work. Okay, then what happens after that? What do you expect? What do you expect? This is what I expect, and we come together and talk about it.
We don't do that enough. Every single person I've ever hired that didn't work out, a talent, an employee, anything, I'm 100% to blame because I didn't manage all the expectations up front. And I did it afterwards. And then I'm like, why, you wonder why this relationship didn't work out, Mr. Genius, is because you didn't manage expectations up front. Now, this doesn't mean I do it in every aspect of my life with my marriage. I don't. But you try to do it as much as possible.
Right.
When you don't, it's problematic. Marriage is, by the way, the other thing about marriage I will say as well to you, final thoughts on this, and then I'll turn it back over
Hey,
to
Monet.
you, is when I talk to my...
Monet says, good evening. Hey, boo, how are you? I didn't see it. Good morning, good evening. Right? We're on the border. So, have you guys had these discussions before you start dealing with somebody? Right? There's some things that you have to set, like, the person has to know. If y'all dating, they have to understand that whole thing. Wait, I was so stupid. I was so stupid, yo. I didn't know nothing. Like, I didn't know, like, oh, okay. So like, from in the beginning, I was like, so it don't matter if we have a title or commitment or this and that and a third. Like, we're just one for another. Like, that's it. We don't have that agreement, sis. A lot of us do that. Like, we think that if he acts like my boyfriend, then he is my boyfriend. Or if, y'all having casual sex, that y'all are a couple and y'all about to get married. No. Then you want to be in the man's phone. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Wait. Why was I watching dang, what's the name of that show? Yeah, whatever. It was a podcast. These guys were talking. These black guys are talking, and they like, I'm remembering a little bit, but they were like, "What's up? Like, if you call me, wait. Okay." He said, "If you call me, and I said I'm out with my friends, and then you want to follow up text me," he got so mad. I'm not. He said, why do women FaceTime you? All three. I'm gonna see if I can find this for y'all because this is hilarious. All the daily wrap up show. I knew my memory was not gonna fail me. The daily wrap up show. Come on, because I got time. The daily wrap up show. This is why people are ending up with the wrong situation because they're not choosing well. They're not setting the expectations. Like, I don't know if you thought I was gonna be here all day, but I ain't. All right, so what was this daily wrap up show? Let me go to my history a little bit. It probably was like a short or something. Yeah, it was a short. Never mind. Yeah, he was like, so. What he said was, I'll just tell you. So he said, so then the all three of the girls, I don't know where they be getting these girls from, is gonna be like, first of all, I'm not FaceTiming. Who's FaceTiming people? Dude, can you imagine? You know how embarrassing that is? I'm showing a house and you FaceTime me? What job do y'all have? Oh, so if you with your friends, you should pick up a FaceTime. It's like, no, like, what you don't understand is he don't have to prove nothing to you. You either trust him or you don't. So all of them was like, yeah. I would do that. Like, why can't you pick up the FaceTime if you with your friends? You know, he gonna look like he's 12 years old and his mom's checking on him. Cut it out. That's like when somebody's like, oh, if you was talking to your friend for real, then if you was talking, hold on. There you go. If you was talking to your friend, then call him back. Call him back. Let me hear it. Put it on speakerphone. How old are we? Are you kidding me? If you don't believe me, you don't believe me. How old are we? Ladies, like, give him some freedom. You just go. You was on a friend with your phone. You just go. You was at your cousin's house. Go on. You was out a business deal. You give him all the rope that he needs, and in time, with time and patience, hey, some trust, he will hang himself. That's it. Same thing for the women. She's lying. She's cheating on you. You're going to find out. The truth at what's done in the dark is going to come to the light. You ain't got to be in that person's phone and telling them this and that and the third. I was embarrassed. I was like, please. That ain't us. That ain't me. That's a lie, and the truth ain't in them. Me? FaceTime you? Are you kidding me? So I could check up on you? What is this? What are you, my parole officer? You better not do it to me. You better not do it to me. Nah. See, I'm so glad, because I would have been in FaceTime is new. I ain't had this back in the day. Thank God. Well, fine. Let me put him on FaceTime then. Now that I think about it, I probably did go through that stuff. Anyway. Happy days are here today. All right. So let's go back to what he was talking about with expectations. I love it. I think it's a mature way to move. And it is what it is. Like, you saying you want an ambitious man. You saying you want a home, fancy things, a $10,000 purse. How's he gonna get all that stuff? And you sitting here fighting him the whole entire time and not letting him decide anything. It don't sound like he's like, oh, let's make this decision together, babe. That ain't sound like that to me. He's like, look, are you on board? Are you good? Okay, I'm doing it. Okay, let's go.
My parents, right, giving advice about marriage, he gave me an interesting advice. He says, here's one thing you need to know. Women marry men hoping they change, and they don't. Men marry women hoping they stay the same, and they don't. Right?
I'm going to say it for you again.
So it's kind of like, well, I think he's going to change. I'm going to be able to change.
Women marry men hoping that they will change. Men marry women hoping they will change. Wait, hoping they don't change, right? But they don't. Men don't change, and women do change.
Yeah, you can probably, certain things we're going to improve and get better when we have kids. We are going to be thinking in a different way, maybe a little less risky and all this stuff. But it's our DNA. It's who we are, right? I hope she stays the same. She's probably not going to stay the same. And you have to be okay with that. Marriage is not easy. But the one thing I said at our wedding, I said, everybody's asking us right now, how long we're going to be married? I said, I can guarantee you we'll be married for 1 year, minimum. I said, we're going to take
he said, I can guarantee you we're going to be
put those pressure on us.
1 year minimum.
1 year at a time. Every year, we're like, you want to go?
First of all, who asked how long y'all gonna be married? I'm done. How long are y'all gonna be married? What? As long as we can. Are you kidding me? Till death do us part. Y'all didn't hear that? Y'all was sleeping in the ceremony, child. That's what y'all was doing, sleeping in the ceremony. So people just say things. Don't even believe them. I ain't asked you for all that, computer. I really didn't.
1 more year. Let's go. 1 more year. We've been saying it for 13 years now.
Every year they say 1 more year.
Because I think sometimes in marriage, when you create unnecessary expectations of walking on water, it's the same exact way when a father is too protective of the daughter. When she's finally free, she goes to college, gets drunk, and has 7 boyfriends in the first 2 weeks. It's the same thing you do to marriage. You can't be walking on water all the time. The more it's walking on water, the more the other person wants to retaliate. The more there's expectation and a bit of flexibility, the more it's like, dude, I can do whatever I want to do, but I don't want to do it because we have mutual understanding. So I'd say managing expectations is probably one of the most important things you can do in your marriage.
So let's say there's a guy right now. He did his best to manage expectations. He's a $70,000 guy. He starts a business with a friend. He's kind of fun. Business takes off. Now he's a $7 million guy, and he's doing well. But before his wife expected him to come home at 5, now he's coming home at 10. Having issues with time and him not being there, him missing baseball games, things like that. How would you advise a guy like that to manage expectations? Because he did communicate one thing at the beginning, and now things are drastically different.
Well, no, I think when he starts a business, he's going to say, babe, I want to quit my job to start a business.
So what he's saying is every time there is a change, you need to communicate with your partner. All right, this is what is going to have to happen. That's why communication is key. And I can see how when you're not communicating that, I can see how y'all gonna get your wires crossed. I can see how that the other person does not know your intentions. So you have to communicate when the changes are happening. Are you good with that? This is what's going to have to happen. I have to put this amount of time in, and you're gonna, I'm not gonna be able to make every baseball game. I'm not gonna be able to make report card conferences. Are you good with that?
And I'm gonna have to work my ass off. If he says that, and he says 5 years later, I want to be able to spend more time, and you're not, you drop the ball on your commitment. So that's where she's being disappointed. So there needs to be an understanding of, hey, is there a timeline to this, or is this forever?
Right.
What's the out? Are you trying to be a billionaire? Are you trying to be a million? Because if you're trying to be a billionaire, I'm not up for it, because that's 40 years. It's 30 years. It's 20 years. I don't care about that. Who are you trying to be? I just want my husband. I miss my boyfriend. I miss my husband, right? Like that conversation back and forth. And unfortunately, let me say the other part. Sometimes you will come to crossroads, and this is the challenge. Years ago, 15 years ago, I went to a class by this author. They wrote this book called Crucial Conversation. They also have another book called Crucial Accountability. They're an LDS group out of Utah, do a fantastic job on how to have crucial conversations. So I went to a lot of their courses, like $1,500, $2,000. I highly recommend going to that. But I bring them to us. And you spend $10,000, $15,000, and they do a 2-day course for all your employees. And it's how to address conflicts together, right? I think husband and wife, one of the most valuable things you'll ever pay for is going to a conflict resolution course together for 2 days to know how do we address conflict together. There needs to be a system on how for you to resolve. If you don't have a system, it becomes problematic. However, sometimes in a marriage, let's just say you're at a point that you're working out, you're taking care of your body, but your wife's letting her body go. Then what do? You married her, she was 140, now she's 280.
Wow.
She's 240. You didn't marry 240.
You didn't marry 240.
She married you, you were 180. Now you're 280.
Yep.
You drink beer every night.
Yep.
You're hanging out every night. You don't even have the energy to spend some time with your wife late at night. You're at a point that you guys are having sex once a month. You know how many people I talk to are having sex once every 2 months? What are you even talking about? It's not even healthy for you. It's good to have sex once or twice a week, minimum, when you're married. You have access to it. Take advantage of it. But sometimes you're kind of like sitting there saying, well, is it at all, until death do us part, all the commitments that we need to make? Man, I didn't sign up for this. She's not putting, what if all of a sudden you decide to not drop off the kids, or she doesn't want to drop off the kids, or she doesn't want to do homework with the kids, or you don't want to do anything with the kids, you don't want to, what if all of a sudden that happens? Did he sign up for that? Did she sign up for that? What are we supposed to do during that time? Are you supposed to sit there and say, well, that's kind of how this thing is, I got to be around for the rest of my life? I also don't agree with that. Because in a partnership, you and I start a company to get a 50-50, okay? And it's a dream we got. Both of us are working our asses off year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Year 5, we're both multimillionaires. You take $1 million home, I take $1 million home with the profits that we make. You go spend a ton of money, you party, you don't get married, you got 5 girlfriends, you're having the time of your life. I get married, I settle down. You come to the office next day at 11 o'clock, I come to the office at 7:30. You're no longer paying the price. How long is that sustainable?
Not sustainable at all. Not sustainable at all. There's no way. Somebody's going to be resentful. And I've been in that scenario where I'm like, I'm busting my behind. He didn't say that the partner didn't come in. It'd be one thing if it didn't come in. And I've heard this partnership thing. I've never had a partner. I don't care. Right? But it's key and critical that they're both giving what needs to be given. Okay? You both have to do the work. You both have to put in the work. So if you could do it in a business partnership, and man to man, they understood what that meant. That means you also have to do it in a marriage, in a relationship. Both parties have to do their part for it to be something that both people are happy doing. You can't just stop. You can't just, like he said, the whole weight thing, the whole managing your weight. You wouldn't want to be with somebody that was like, if you were a woman and your man was skinny when y'all met, and then all of a sudden he's getting bigger and he's hitting 280 and you stayed small, you're gonna feel some type of way. So if you flip it, he's not gonna want you. First of all, he's gonna want you healthy, and he's gonna feel certain type of way as well. But I mean, we have the reasons why. But if you do, when he said you were 280 as a man and you're still drinking beer, like you're sitting on the couch drinking beer, like you're not moving, you're not doing anything about it. I feel like once people start being proactive and start doing things about it, now you're managing yourself and managing the expectations of your partner. You had to work, like you should be like your partner is your boss, and your partner should feel like you're their boss. Like I'm doing this for her, and I'm doing this for him, and he's doing this for me. Like I'm trying to come up, like I'm trying to really hold my end of the bargain up. Okay, that's where we fail. Because and how do you know that you're holding your end of the bargain up? How do you know that you're holding your end of the bargain up? You don't even know what the bargain is. Y'all never decided anything. You never said, I want this and you want that. Let's make this happen. It should be like an agreement. When we have a real estate deal, I'm negotiating to the end, like from the beginning, I'm negotiating all the way to the end. So when people are like, oh, I don't know if this is going to happen, what do you mean? We already discussed what's going to happen if the appraisal doesn't come back the way we wanted to. We already discussed these are the issues. We already foreseen what could happen wrong. This is how we stand. Now that I know how I stand on this side and the other agent stands on the other side, when the problems come, we already know what roles to play, what position to play. Now we know that this is not just going to fall apart on us because we discussed this right when, before everybody signed the papers, or right when that check, maybe y'all signed and then the check was on the mail. The earnest money was on its way. Right at that time, we got all of our negotiations down. So therefore, we know this is closing. We're like, okay, we're just waiting. It's a matter of time. Everybody got to do their job, and then we're closing, and that's it. So when I hear, oh, I'm afraid we're not going to close. Wait, how's that? How's that even possible? That we're not going to close when we've already talked about everything. We've already negotiated everything. We didn't get into no arguments. We didn't get into no fights about this. Now you're just being anxious for no reason. Because we already decided how this was going to go, unless you're going to go back on your agreement. So when you're in a relationship with somebody, you got to keep your end of the bargain. And if you're not, you need to provide reasons why. You got to call out why you're calling out. I'm going to let you know ahead of time. This is what I can't do, why, and here's what it is. People will feel much better than that. If you don't say anything, the other person will be quiet and resentful and feel like you're taking advantage. Does your boss not feel like you're taking advantage? Have you ever been a supervisor and you have an employee that doesn't call, no show? What happens, no call, no show? You get fired. So you standing each other up. You're not honoring your commitments towards each other, and you wonder why you have a bad relationship. But if you're honorable in your actions towards each other, then y'all going to feel like y'all have a better situation going on. If he doesn't want you to go to, I don't expect my wife to go to girls' night. And that's what you like, miss. You want to decide. When you hear him talk about them girl trips, if he says he don't like that stuff, you got to decide. If he decide that he says, oh, you had to wear only your natural hair, you got to decide. I don't think I can do this. Mr. You better wear your skirts to your ankles. I said, sir, this is probably the only conversation we're going to have. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is the only conversation we're having, because that I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not what I'm gonna do. And it was I was like, next, okay, I'm good. So you have to consider the other person, what they want, what they need, and you're gonna say, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna make the adjustment because you're worth it, or maybe I'm just gonna stay myself and wait for somebody that's gonna accept me as I am. But the question is, when's the next time somebody coming along talking about on the second day? You know what I mean? You better hope he coming, or you're gonna have to make some changes. And that's where the issue is. Somebody said that men are not leading, in certain areas, in certain cities. I'm like, there's leaders everywhere. What are you talking about? There got to be a top guy in this city. There got to be a top woman in this city. There's women and men everywhere. You can't just say, oh, because of a demographic area, there's nobody here. No. What are those guys looking for? What is the top girl looking for? What is the top guy looking for? And are we willing to make the adjustments so you can get that person? If you're not, then find somebody that's in the middle. Find somebody at the bottom. I don't know. But you have to adjust your, once you hear what they say, oh, I'm not going to have time. Oh, we're not going to be able to go and buy that fancy house that you want. Can you take that? Oh, well, what's the point of us getting together if I can't use and spend, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get it. But maybe he wants a woman that get it. Maybe he wants a woman that can look out, that can say, you know what, I am used to sacrificing for what I want. I'm used to waiting. I'm used to delayed gratification. So, babe, that's not a problem. Maybe you not having that mindset is why you can't get that person. That's the mindset that they're looking for. Okay. So we're going to keep moving forward. But I love this whole managing, like, what? I'm going to take this. This is worth more than money. If you're smart, this is worth more than money. You need to take the information and you need to apply it into every part of your life. You have kids? Oh, baby. Here's the expectation. There was a point where I took their phones because they were not cleaning up. They were not helping. They were feeling like they were entitled to this and that. I was like, oh, okay, I got you. So if I say, before you leave here, you're going to have to keep your room clean, I got to be the one to go back and check. I got to be the one to let them know. Hey, sit them down and say, you know what, kids, you're going to have to step this up. You're going to have to do what needs to be done. And I tell them, because they like to get their hair done. I was like, okay, you want me to spend hours? Come on, somebody. Any moms ever spend hours on their kids' hair? Oh, baby, I said, listen, I let you go here. I did your hair. Don't even let me ask you. That's a managing an expectation. Don't even let me ask you to clean up when you get back. Don't even expect me to ask you to clean up when you come here. I don't even want to say it. I just want to see it. And that's it. So that's managing expectations with your children, managing expectations with your boss. Listen, boss. If you want me to come in, I need 24 hours. I need notice. Okay, boss? Okay, boss? I lost it. Here we go. All right, so here's another one. So I love that. Now, listen to these women, how women want a man that is ambitious. They're not letting this guy go. Why would we want the guy that's sitting on the couch? Like, come on. No offense, but we don't want you. Right? So they're not only, wanting that guy, they want to see, like, they want the top guy, pretty much. So this video is called The Shocking Truth About the 1%. The 1%. Hey, Stafford. The shocking truth about the 1%. This is what women have to decide, because I see this in multiple podcasts where it's like every single time they're like, well, you want this guy with money, but you want him to have a lot of time for you. And I'm just like, why y'all keep saying the same thing? We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. We want the time and the money. But it's only 24 hours in a day. All right, here we go. Share my screen. All right, window here. All right, so this is another show where they're talking to women about the 1%, the shocking truth about the 1%. All right, here we go.
If you're spending so much time,
they only think about the dates. They only think about the good stuff that ambition brings.
I totally get that. I work.
Let's start from
South Florida, but he sees her on Saturdays.
That sucks. Yeah.
He's ambitious though.
What's good, everybody? I want to let you guys know that the standard spring collection is officially live.
To Jazz's point, I've dated this. I don't want this. Right? I've dated a guy who's super busy all the time and made a lot of money, so I want a guy who's flexible. I dated a guy who's a project guy, never panned out. I don't want a project guy. So your experience shape you, but it's also like this ideal of like, this will make me happy if I get this. You may have never dated that kind of guy, never been with that kind of guy, so you really don't know if you will be happy with that kind of guy. Like a lot of women today say they want an ambitious, driven man. My wife says all the time, I wish these women knew what that's like.
Right.
Because you sometimes get 5 hours a week. You sometimes get a guy who's out of town for a whole week on business that never stops. You might get a guy who literally working till 11 o'clock at night. You might have a guy where when you're having kids and having a baby, may not go to the recitals, may not go to a football game because he has a client meeting in Tokyo. There's a whole lifestyle that comes with that kind of caliber.
They don't think about that. They only think about the trips. They only think about the house. They only think about the dates. They only think about the good stuff that ambition.
So leave this in the comment section. Do you think you can deal with a person that only can give you 5 hours in a week? This is what he got married. He's freshly married. And his woman is already saying, I wish they knew how this goes, right? How this really goes. Like, you don't know until you're in the club. You don't know what it's like until you're really going through it, and how it really plays with your emotions as a woman. You want them around, but you also want them working. So it's not one or the other. It's not like, oh, I understand why. Like, we all understand why you got to do what you got to do, sir. However, I still miss you and I have emotions. That's what it is. That tell my emotions that, right? So and that's why it's super important to manage those expectations.
This is very, because
I totally get that. I work around a lot. I work in the sales field, so I have mentors and stuff where like I'm not at home 4 days a week. Like I'm only home such and such. I'm like that's a life to live. Like it's definitely it's a lot. But I do like my space. So if you're out on the road,
this is when guys say cap. He's thinking cap, right? Watch what happens. Why he thinks this.
4 days a week, stay less.
My question to you,
He's thinking over here.
was, when was the last time you were head over heels in love with him?
Like 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
How much you like your space back then?
I did like my space, but I wanted to spend some of that space with him.
They got her.
No, but like
got him.
talking about right now.
Got him.
What's really going on right now?
No, okay.
You saw how he set her up?
Good one.
He set her up good. He said, I want you to go back to a time. Okay? I want you to go back to a time when you were head over heels in love with a man. And you said, I like my space. How much did you like your space that time? He's like, I did like my space, but I wanted him in my space too, right? And she's like, oh, I see what you did there. It's like Jedi mind trick. I thought he was cross-examining himself. Okay.
No, but seriously, now that I'm like thinking about it, I did want to see him
And there's no shame in it.
No
I'm
shame
not
in
shaming
it.
that.
No shame in it.
Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I did want a good bulk of that time, but at the same time, when you working on like a year or 2 years, it's like, okay, especially if y'all like live together. We didn't live together. Like, I always wanted to be there, but if y'all move in together, like, okay,
Let me tell you, and I'm not shaming that. What I've realized is that there's a way a woman can move for a guy who she don't feel strongly with.
Yeah.
And when a guy really has her whole emotions in his back pocket, that woman, all those, well, I can do this, I could have done this, I can do that, that's all out the window. And so
Something out the window. Off the 16th floor, it's gone.
It's all out the window.
You're right.
And it does, in my opinion, the more you're with him, the more you're gonna fall deeper in love if he's that guy. So it's not like it just stops. Not like
it gets to a point where all rationale is thrown out the window. And they know it's horrible. They know that they have the woman's emotions in their back pocket. Oh God. He said after that, the more time you spend with them, the more you go fall more deeply in love. I'm like, where's the
all
lie?
of a sudden you have kids and now you expect less time. You know what I mean? Not like all of a sudden you're
Right.
married. Now,
My girl, he's a father too. And it's going, all right, man.
it's like you don't want to get married and now your husband's like, well, you know how I gave you 40 hours a week while we were dating? Now I'm about to get a little bit more busy. Now I'm going to give you 20 hours a week. Now we're married. It don't stop.
Right.
You ain't signed up for that.
It is.
You
So,
ain't
so
I need
to me,
space though. I really do.
She not
Like,
listening.
even if I
She
like
went
it,
right back
like,
to
I
that.
need a room in my house where I can just close the door and
Woman
go do
cave.
yoga. Like, yeah, like
A woman
leave
cave.
me
But that's
alone.
what
I need
we're
one of
doing now.
those too.
Because
Yes.
I feel
We're
like
starting that now.
if you're spending so much time with that person, like there's nothing to chase.
bro,
I kind of like
You need
that,
your own
like,
life. You definitely need your own life.
no, but I kind of want like you've been gone for a while. Like, dang, I can't wait to see you. Like, I like that chase
and I
is
think
still
that's
there.
exactly what I'm describing. But I think I think what happens is like eventually it's like, let's say there's a spectrum, right? On one end of the spectrum, the guy's too clingy, super turn off you, right? On the end of the spectrum, the guy's never around, he's too working. The perfect balance is where he's gone just enough that you miss him, and before you get to that point of no return where you're starting to nag, blow his phone up, he comes home and gives you all the love and affection you ever dreamed about,
Yes.
fills up your tank, goes back on his way, and repeat the cycle over again. Right? That's
That's
perfect.
perfect.
In the real world, with the ambitious man, he's gonna lean a little bit towards he ain't gonna have that much time. And then if he's really ambitious, each year he's trying to go up another level. He might start off working at the law firm. Now he wants to be a senior at the law firm. Now he wants to be an owner at the law firm. Now he wants to start his own private practice. Like, so to me, the ambitious guy,
He's gonna
the
keep
time
going.
don't go down,
No.
as the years progress.
No.
You know,
The time doesn't go up.
as the years progress. It goes down, and that's where I was like, if a woman dated a guy like that, she might realize, oh, I've always wanted. Because when women say they want a ambitious man, I'm like, yo, I don't think that's a word women really. Because I know a guy who told me he sees his wife on Saturdays, but if I showed you his house,
Yeah, you ain't no wasted time there, Jay. Ain't no wasted day.
if I show you $25
Ain't no way.
million
You gonna
house,
come out there with a business card or something.
you know, you'd be like, beachfront property in South Florida, but he sees her on Saturdays.
That sucks.
Yeah.
He's ambitious though.
He's in
But
business.
I think
He got
also,
more money than
But he got a
money.
wife though. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
obviously it's okay.
I think not every woman is set up for like that, a life like that. But there are, I feel like there are women like us, and then there are women that absolutely cannot try at all. I feel like we're kind of saying we can try to do that. It may not be the best predicament we want
I
to
don't
be,
know.
of course, but
She's saying like she tried to do it, but I feel like you're either gonna be committed to doing it or not. Like you're gonna adjust. You're gonna either make when you're trying to be successful in a marriage, in a relationship, in whatever you're doing. Like you're not just gonna be like, oh, I'll try it. Just like the girls was saying, like, oh, marriage. They were like, would you ever get married? She's like, I'll try it. What? Try being married? No, you. He's like, all right. You're either gonna be married or you're not. We're talking about managing expectations, and we're talking about how these women want ambitious men, but as soon as they realize that he doesn't have a lot of time, they're still gonna try.
I don't think no woman on earth is actually okay with only seeing her husband on Saturdays.
So they were talking about a guy that he has this beachfront property, but he only sees his wife on Saturdays because he's very ambitious and he has to be out of town.
Agreed. So I guess in the that's why I'm like always like when it comes to the ambitious conversation with women, I'm like in the spectrum of ambition. What do you like about ambition? Because to me, sometimes it's not ambitious they like, but it's a man who's decisive, a man who's an initiator, a man who's proactive. That's what they like. Because when you think about ambition means always wanting more, always doing more.
And I think that April Mason said this. She said there's a difference between a high value man and a high earning man. And I think what Nafis is explaining that there's guys that are ambitious, that's working hard. They might not be at that level that the women want, but he is flexible enough to spend time with you and still build what he's building, and spend time with you and still progress in his career. To get somebody in the middle, you got to catch them in the middle.
Always striving for more. So,
but the top dude is always not. He's never going to stop like working. Like he's just not.
That means that guy is always working more. Sometimes maybe not harder, but smarter. But he's always doing something. Like he's doing something. If you want that kind of guy versus the guy who may not be the most ambitious, he might be a manager at a company, spent 20 years working his way up, earning maybe a good 6-figure salary, but has the time to go to the baseball games, ballet recitals, to be able to come home for birthdays. He's not ambitious. He don't want to be the CEO or the president, but he's hardworking.
He's trying to say like certain guys, like if you get them, you don't want a complete bum. This is the translation, okay? You don't want a complete bum. However, you want somebody that can be still a good husband to you. As talking to the women here.
But he's dependable. But he's trustworthy. So that's why I'm like, in regards to that, women like, I want this guy who has this plan, he has a 7-year plan, and I'm like, you want that guy?
They really just want protection and security. They just want money. They know that the bill's gonna be paid. They can travel when they want to. They want to be fine, and they want the option to work. That's what we're going to.
I don't wouldn't necessarily agree 100%.
Go ahead. Talk to me.
I mean, of course, security, protection, money is a nice. So overall, like security, right? But I think still every woman wants to be chosen. So like we still want that love and the
emotional security
that's often not spoken about as well.
That's good.
So sometimes we get so caught up in the conversation of protection and leadership and ambition, which we do love those things, but we forget that we're also talking about we want him to be mostly available to us when it's time.
Oh yeah, I thought we were talking about like men getting to the door, not stay.
No, I actually want to disagree with what she said, Chris. Before you go ahead.
I mean, go ahead. I think we're on two different pages.
No, we're on the same page.
Okay.
I'm on the page you're on.
Okay.
I'm taking us back there because I disagree. My question becomes: women want men to protect and provide. Let's say provide for the family. How are the bills going to get paid?
You gotta work. Yeah, you gotta work. But the thing about it is, men know that they need to show their wives love.
No, I don't deny that.
They know that if I get too wrapped up, I might lose that.
I understand that. Maybe I'm having a personal conversation because to me, it's like I think about this man who. Have you seen the movie Fences with Denzel?
No. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Duh. Yeah, that's a classic.
Watch Fences. Here's a scene where Denzel's character is telling his son, all that he's done for the family to provide, all the hours he's put in to put a roof over his son's head. To me, there is a time cost. Like, let's say you like, I want to live a upper class lifestyle. I want, maybe a house in the Hamptons. I want a vacation house in Central Pay.
Oh my God,
I want a certain kind of life for my kids. I want my kids learning Mandarin and Spanish and all the
Mandarin.
Jose,
He says, "Good afternoon to the IG Live Queen. Thank you."
They're teaching her Mandarin, Spanish,
Lamont,
and English.
I know. Eating cupcakes in Lamont, I swear. I got it. I'm good now.
You have to apply for. You need to have a certain name for.
I got it. So we're talking about managing expectations, right? And so he's saying like, guys got to go to work to pay the bills. And you want this lifestyle woman. Yeah, I got it now, Mama. Because I don't want to call you the wrong name. But I'm good now. I'm good. So when I see Lamar, when I see cupcakes, I'm like, okay, Lamar, I got it. So, guys, he's saying like, if you want me to provide a life with private school, if you want me to provide a life with a beautiful home, if you want me to do all of these things, how are you saying that we're going to get all of these things, but you're not allowing me to do the work that's necessary so we can get to that level? Like, you're going to have to figure out how to manage your own time and life and emotions for a little bit so that I can get these things done. I feel like it's just like the post that I put on Facebook that I got from somebody else where the let's just talk about this emotionally. The woman is on the ledge, right? And the guy is grabbing her. So imagine this is the woman on the ledge. This is the woman, okay? So she's on the ledge and he is grabbing her, holding her hand. But there's a snake that is biting her that he doesn't know about. But there's also, look, I'm gonna use the props that I have, okay? There's a rock. There's a rock, y'all. There's a rock. Okay, no, baby, this is not a good rock. Hold on. Struggling to watch my props is part of the show, guys. There's a rock over here on this man's back, breaking his back. Okay, there's a rock, and he can't move, and he's just like, I wish he would just come up more, and I can pull her up. But she doesn't know that there's I'm dying over here with this rock on my back, breaking me in half. And she's like, he doesn't know that there's this snake bothering me. And it's just like, if the woman could really understand that he has so much pressure on him, that I love when like throughout the week where you get things and you pull them together. This is what I like about this whole situation, because it all makes sense. It's like all like a message that makes sense. He has this pressure on him to get up, provide, do this, do that, make sure everything is happening. When the tuition is due, he got to pay it. When the rent is due, the mortgage is due, he got to pay it. Like all of these things on him. And the one thing you want is his time. But he's trying to make that whole life happen. He's trying to make that whole life happen. And he feels guilty that he's not meeting all of your needs. So now he's like, I wish he would understand me more. And then the woman is like, he doesn't know that I have the kids, I have to work, I have this and that going on. I need him to be there for me, to grab me and pull me up because I feel like I'm drowning. So both at the same time, this is life, right? We feel like I'm falling, I'm drowning, and I need you to help me. And then he's like, listen, let me help you help me. Right? Meet me, like, understand what I'm going through, woman. Right? And I think that's what it is, because we got to manage expectations. We have to understand one another. You can manage the expectations. You can say, look, this is what I'm going to do. But then you got to be like, okay, in our time together, we have to make it count. It has to be quality time. What can I do to fill your bucket? What is the thing that I can do to make this maximize the time? Wait, I was to be the queen of this. So when I was a teenager, right, I feel like these kids. So when you know how you don't want to tell your story so the kids will act up. So when I was a teenager, I was getting picked up at school or whatever, and I had 40 minutes clean, like 40 to 45 minutes, okay? And I would make the quality time out of 45 minutes. Like, you can make whatever time you get whatever time you set happen, you can make it happen. And you're just sacrificing for the future. I mean, like you gotta do it because we are 400 years behind. Let's catch up, okay? All right. Yeah, so I appreciate the conversation because the guys really like, look, y'all don't really know what this takes. So it's because you don't know what it takes. You gonna have to trust me on this one, honey. I'm gonna need some more time to work on this business in this life, so I can keep this going.
It takes a certain amount of hours a man has to put in
Yep.
to be able to acquire that.
Yep.
And because he works that many hours, he may not have as much time to show that love because he's so consumed with showing love in that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's say it's 100 hours a week. I can be a balanced guy and give 50 hours for the emotional love.
Okay. So what he's saying is, I like that. So what he's saying is, baby, I do love you. That's why I work so hard. I do love you. That's why I want to give you the best life possible. I do love you. My ambitions and your wants align. So I'm providing what you want. I'm providing the gifts. I'm providing this, but I can't provide the time. And all she wants is your time, sir. So that's why you gotta get your love languages on point. You'll have to come up with a plan or something. You better FaceTime her or something. Like try to fit her into your schedule, sir, because she's not having it. Emotionally, you can find ways. Like she also, I think women also had to take responsibility on their emotional health. Sometimes you got stuff going on from the past. Sometimes you have trauma that you need to heal on your own. Sometimes you need to like, okay, this is what I signed up for. I know what I'm getting. Like I should be able to deal with this. You know what I mean? Like it's women. Listen, apparently if Monica could marry somebody in jail for life, you could sure manage, the time that you get weekly with that person. And it's not easy. Trust me, I know. But yeah.
And then 50 hours for the provisional love. But because the provisional demand is so high, to be ambitious, to make this certain amount of money, to be able to provide this for your kids, all the things that you never had, he kind of cuts into those emotional hours and adds it to provisional. So where he's like spending 90 of his hours to provide and only having 10 hours left to give emotionally.
Right.
So my question as a woman is that
there we go.
One do you primarily want in regards to your man's time?
Do women wait? Hold up.
Do you want his time to be primarily spent on providing for you physically, or do you want his time to be spent providing for you emotionally? Because I know a guy who told me he sees his wife on Saturdays.
That is a good question. Do women want which would you prefer? Because I know the answer is both. And if somebody put a gun to your head and you had to choose one, if you had to choose one, do you want him to provide financially, or do you want him to provide emotionally? Because this is the guy you said you wanted. You wanted a guy that was ambitious. So when you get to the ambitious guy, you got to say, I want you to provide financially, or I want you to provide emotionally. And you have to choose. If financially is more important to you, then ambitious guys to do. But if emotionally is more important to you, then you might want to get somebody that has less ambition. And it's that simple. Or you'll have to find a good balance. And maybe the balance is not, maybe he doesn't have the creativity to know exactly what to do and how to, you know what I mean? How else can we incorporate? You know what I mean? Shall we work together, or how else shall we incorporate my emotional time? Or does he know when to drop everything because I really, really need him? You know what I mean? So can he even do it? Maybe he can't do it. Maybe you have to lean on your support system at times. But you say you want this life, you're not letting it go. They're not letting it go. They're like, oh no, we're gonna try. We're trying. We want the ambitious man. He gotta make that money, honey. Come on, make it do what it do. But this is what these women that is living in these mansions, like the guy is going to work to let his family stay in this safe place, to stay in this home, to stay with the accoutrements and the nice things that they have. That's what he goes to work to make sure everything keeps going, keeps running smoothly, and his vision is being executed. And you have to decide, when I'm in this big old house, can I handle it myself? Or does he have to be here with me? Because we don't have to have this big house. We can be in a small house, do less, and be together more. And maybe if that's the life you want, then you might want to get a guy that makes less money, the guy that has less ambition, and go with that. Okay. So it's not a topic that I'm like, oh, here we go, let's talk about this again. But it's just something that if everybody is saying the same thing, ladies, we have to like, okay, this is what comes with it. That's like everybody telling you, like, when you have a baby, the baby's gonna cry, you're not gonna get no sleep. You're fighting the fact that, no, I don't want to sleep when the baby sleep. Oh, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to sleep when the baby sleep. I don't want to sleep when the baby sleep. And then you be like, this is how it really is. Let me take mine behind to sleep and sleep when the baby sleeps so I can stop being so stressed out. This is how it really is going down. Let me actually move accordingly. Let me move accordingly so I can see what's up. Because this is what they're telling me what it is. And then your hard-headed self finally say, you know what? You know what? I think I might take a lay down. I think I might listen to y'all. Okay. So let me go ahead and check out. This is my photo. All right, it's my video. Shout out to the people that's fixing their credit right now. This is how it really is going down. Let me actually. Sorry. All right. Shout out to the people that's fixing their credit. If you're on here, say hi. If you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions about dealing with a person? Like, anybody can answer this question. Do you want physical provision or do you want emotional provision? Because if you get in just, if you want somebody to be like, oh, you have to be here for me emotionally, then you might want to consider making sure your career is on point too. You're going to need the emotional support because we get stressed out with our careers, honey. You get what I'm saying? All right. Well, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching the Ruth and Relationship Show. I bless your family, your dating life, your married life. I bless your future babies if you want them. Thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow on the Ruth and Relationships. Ruth and Relationships. Tell me, can you handle it? It's the Ruth and Relationship Show. Bye. All right. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section. Make sure you like this video on YouTube and subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.